Every pot is a nightmare. Every single pot.
Heads up on the bow. Watch out. Hang on, hang on.
Get Mason. Get Mason now.
My grandmother can do that. And she's...
Don't start screaming and yelling.
Yeah, but why do it the hard way?
That's the way I'm used to do it.
Yeah.
And it worked.
I mean, nobody ever thinks that their dad's gonna go missing in the woods. Probably over 600 bucks. Nobody thinks that's gonna happen to them.
Another captain is gone, claimed by the deadly Alaskan Sea. After 15 years of fighting waves and freezing storms, the sea has struck once more in the world of Deadliest Catch. The icy waters have no mercy, and this time they took a seasoned captain who had battled for his life every day. The Bering Sea, cold and cruel, shows no forgiveness to anyone who steps into its grasp. Tune in as the waves rise and the dangers become all too real. What happens next will leave everyone speechless. 15 years of fury. The unforgiving Alaskan Sea, that cruel mistress of icy wrath, has yet again claimed a life. And here we are, watching as another captain joins the list of those who've paid the ultimate price. Tragedy doesn't take a break, and neither does the sea. The Bering Sea, where every wave feels like it's trying to crush your spirit, has one more story to tell. It's not about a triumphant catch or a safe return to shore. It's about the cruel reality of trying to make a living in a place that genuinely wants you dead. The real nightmare is still to come, and it's far worse than anyone could imagine. Imagine spending every day knowing that a single mistake, a moment of carelessness, can be your last. That's the reality for the crews of Deadliest Catch. They fight not only against the relentless waves and piercing winds, but also against their own fears and limitations. For all the money and glory promised by a successful crab haul, the cost is often paid in blood, sweat, and tears, sometimes even in lives.
Is it?
Oh yeah, you broke it.
It just cut.
You got a nice little dent in it.
The nose doesn't hurt. It just cut.
The show has always delivered more than just the thrill of the hunt. It's given us a peek into the hearts of these fishermen, individuals who choose to battle the whims of a monstrous sea. But no TV editing or dramatic soundtrack can capture the true horrors that come with such a dangerous job. The cold is bone-numbing, the waves could snap steel, and the loneliness eats away at you. This isn't just TV drama, it's a life-risking gamble for crab. Big crustaceans worth their weight in gold, and as elusive as dreams on these dark waters. Deadliest Catch might make it look like the biggest problem is catching enough crabs to cover costs. But there's so much more lurking beneath those choppy waves. The production crews behind the scenes deserve their own medal of bravery. They aren't just pointing cameras, they're living the same harsh nightmare, just without the reward of hauling in the day's catch. Every sudden storm or icy squall makes filming a nightmare. Equipment malfunctions, people go overboard, and sometimes they're just too far from safety. And here's the kicker. These production crews aren't doing it for the thrill of catching crabs or for a boatload of cash.
Oh! Who is it?
They're doing it so that we get our nightly dose of reality TV. But what's behind the shiny production value? We often forget that the guys behind the camera are facing the same angry sea, dodging icy blasts and holding on for dear life. And it's not just the crew that risks everything for a few crab pots, it's the unsung heroes who make sure we get our reality TV fix, who have it just as bad. Maybe worse, because at least the fishermen get their share of crab money. All the production crew gets is an adrenaline high and some sketchy accommodations. Tom Beers, the show's creator, might have been the genius behind the lens that brought this brutal world to our cozy living rooms, but let's not forget, his success comes on the backs of people risking their lives daily. Storytelling doesn't get more real than this, except that for every edited, dramatic shot, there's a raw moment of terror that didn't make the final cut. Life on the Bering Sea isn't just brutal for the crew. The sea, cold as it is, doesn't care if you're a seasoned captain or a deckhand on their first trip. There's no discrimination, only devastation, lurking, waiting for its moment. And every single person who dares set foot on those boats knows it. It's the survival of the luckiest. Captain Sig Hansen, the face that's almost become the mascot of Deadliest Catch, has battled these treacherous waters for decades. He was born into this life, a lineage of Norwegian fishermen who practically had salt water instead of blood, but even he hasn't escaped unscathed. Heart attacks, stress, and still he's at it. Maybe it's courage, maybe it's obsession, but it's a gamble every time. The supermoon, that beautiful thing people like to snap Instagram photos of, is pure hell for these captains. While everyone else marvels at its glow, the fishermen curse its name, knowing the havoc it's about to wreak on the tides. The moon pulls harder, the tides swell, and the waves grow meaner. It's a nightmare wrapped in a silvery glow, reminding everyone on those decks just how much of nature's mercy they're at, which is to say, none. It's not the kind of thing they talk about on Instagram, though. There's also an unspoken reality with these captains that the cameras don't dwell on. Like Josh Harris, who tried stepping up after his father, Captain Phil, passed away. The expectations were enormous, and the cameras didn't care about his emotional breakdowns, the stress, or the public resurfacing of old ugly accusations. He tried to live up to his father's legacy and ultimately fell short. It's easy to judge, but unless someone stood on the deck of a crab boat in a freezing storm, maybe it's better not to. And Elliot Neese? He might have been a talented captain, but he also battled his own demons, and they got the best of him. Substance abuse, legal troubles, falling into the worst kind of spiral. It's a story too familiar in this harsh lifestyle. The pressure, isolation, danger, it can chew a person up and spit them out. It's not just the captains either, it's the crew.
Job's dangerous enough, can't be like, not all. If you're not on the ball, you could get killed or hurt.
The stories of those who've gone missing or have lost their lives aren't uncommon. Jake Anderson, who went from greenhorn to captain, knows tragedy too well. His father's mysterious disappearance, his sister's untimely death, the man has more reason than most to have thrown in the towel, yet he keeps coming back to the water, facing the thing that has taken so much from him. Maybe it's a kind of madness, or maybe it's a sense of purpose. Who knows? What happens next shows how much the sea takes and how hard it is to keep going. The tragic end of FV Destination. And then there are the tragedies that break your heart. Captain Phil Harris, a fixture of the series, succumbed to a stroke right in the middle of it all. His death was broadcast to audiences around the world, a painful reminder that these aren't just tough guys putting on a show, they're human beings, living and dying by the sea. Or the FV Destination sinking in 2017, a seasoned boat lost with all 6 crew members on board. They fought against severe icing, tried to keep their boat from tipping, and ultimately, nature won. They were real people, fathers, sons, friends, and they went down doing what they loved. For the sea doesn't play favorites, doesn't show mercy, it simply takes what it wants, and that's that. And yet, despite it all, there's something that keeps these men and women coming back. There's a camaraderie, a shared understanding that's impossible to find anywhere else. It's the kind of bond forged not through shared laughter, but through shared fear, hardship, and the understanding that any one of them might not make it back next time. They fight against nature, against their own fears, and against the clock, all for the chance to bring home that catch. The crab, the prize that's never guaranteed, the payout that's always risky. And for what? The chance to make some money, to prove something to themselves, and maybe to survive another day. The world of Deadliest Catch is complex, filled with victories, losses, and a constant battle against elements that couldn't care less about human determination. Each trip out to the Bering Sea is a leap into the unknown. No one knows if they'll make it back. And while the danger is part of the thrill, it's also a reminder of the thin line between life and death out there. The ocean is beautiful, but indifferent. It doesn't care about bravery or experience. It just is. Cold, relentless, and full of secrets that pull at the human spirit. Beyond the cameras and crew, there are the families back home. The ones glued to their phones, waiting for updates. Wives, children, parents, all waiting for that one call that says everything is fine, even when they know it rarely is.
I just got a call from Joy.
What happened?
Tom died.
There's a whole world behind those boat decks. families who support this dangerous livelihood yet live in constant worry. Every fisherman knows that when they say goodbye before a trip, it could be the last time. That's the brutal truth. Look at Mandy Hansen, for example. She's grown up watching her father, Sig Hansen, battle the sea. She's seen the toll it's taken on him, the health scares, the stress, the heartbreak, but she's chosen the same path. It's almost like the sea has its own kind of pull on people, something that goes beyond logic or sense. Maybe it's in their blood, maybe it's the challenge, or maybe it's the promise of some form of freedom that most people never experience. Whatever it is, Mandy's out there, learning the ropes, taking the helm, and preparing herself for the day she'll take over the Northwestern. And if anyone thinks the ocean will go easy on her because she's young or because she's Sig Hansen's daughter, they're wrong. The sea doesn't care. And then there are the moments of rare, fleeting triumph. The times when a pot comes up brimming with crab and the crew, battered and weary, erupts in cheers. Those moments, they're pure gold. They make the exhaustion worth it. They make the danger feel a little less suffocating. It's like a rush that nothing on land could ever compare to. But those moments are rare, and they're not guaranteed. The sea gives, but it takes so much more. Consider the story of the Cornelia Marie, one of the most iconic vessels in the Deadliest Catch fleet. After Captain Phil Harris passed, the boat struggled to find its footing. Josh Harris tried to step into his father's shoes, but those were big shoes to fill. The sea doesn't care about good intentions or legacies. It's unforgiving, and it tested Josh in every possible way. With the pressures of living up to his father's name, managing a crew, and dealing with personal demons, the weight was almost unbearable. And when past allegations resurfaced, it was like the sea itself decided to drown him in one final wave of misfortune. The Cornelia Marie, once led by a legend, now had a captain who was struggling to keep himself afloat, let alone his ship.
If we fail this season, then the Cornelia Marie will be up for sale to the highest bidder. Gab's probably watching from up top. You know, that'd be the biggest embarrassment ever.
Elliot Neese, another name that fans remember well. A captain with undeniable talent but a troubled soul. His time on Deadliest Catch was marked by tension, arguments, and a downward spiral that was painful to watch. Substance abuse wasn't just a side story, it was a central part of his struggle. The isolation, the pressure, the constant need to prove himself, it all pushed him deeper into a dark place. Eventually, it caught up with him. Legal troubles, a stint in rehab, and ultimately being cut from the show. But even after all that, the sea called him back. After serving his time, Elliot returned to crab fishing. It's almost like no matter how many times the ocean tries to throw them off, these men keep coming back, battered but not broken. Jake Anderson's journey is another testament to resilience. He started as a greenhorn, the lowest rank, doing the dirtiest jobs, and he worked his way up. But the sea didn't give him any breaks. In 2010, his father disappeared. His truck was found abandoned, but there were no answers. Jake had to keep going. He had to keep working, even with that hole in his heart. And as if that wasn't enough, his sister passed away not long after. It's unimaginable the weight he carried. Yet he stayed. He worked his way up the Northwestern, and eventually he became captain of the saga. It's hard to understand what drives someone to keep going after so much loss. Maybe it's the need to prove that he could rise above it all. Maybe it's because the sea, with all its cruelty, was also the only place he felt close to those he had lost. The sea reminds them who's in charge, leaving its mark on those who dare. When experience isn't enough, the sea doesn't care. It's not interested in how much experience a crew has, how many years a captain has under their belt, or whether someone is on TV or not. The tragedy of the FE destination back in 2017 is the kind of brutal reminder no one likes, but everyone needs to hear. It's a classic case of nature saying, "Nope, not today," and taking everything despite the skill and caution of those aboard. 6 people, all professionals who knew what they were doing, were lost because the ocean decided it wanted to collect a debt that day. It's tough, it's heart-wrenching, but that's the reality of this life. If you've been watching Deadliest Catch for long enough, you'll see that the victories are great, but the sea is always waiting, ready to take back what's hers. No one knows this better than Sig Hansen. The guy has been at it forever, literally risking life and limb. In 2016, it wasn't the freezing waves or relentless storms that almost got him, it was his own heart, right there on the deck of his boat. A heart attack in the middle of the ocean, caught on camera for the whole world to see.
You'll never hear him complain about, I'm tired, I can't make it through the... You'll never, ever hear him. He'll never even hint to you that he's hurting that way.
But Sig's not one to bow out. He came back, kept going like nothing happened until 2019 rolled around and it was another health scare. This time it was an allergic reaction that almost took him out. And each time he's gone back like the guy's got some unfinished business out there. Maybe it's about the money. Maybe it's just that without that danger, without the chase, he wouldn't know who he is. Either way, his daughter Mandy is waiting in the wings, learning everything she can. She's ready to take over when her father can't do it anymore. But there's a sad truth to it. No amount of lessons can prepare her for what's out there. The Bering Sea isn't exactly interested in giving anyone an easy start. Mandy is stepping into a legacy that's got danger written all over it, and she knows it. But she's there anyway, and maybe that's the most remarkable thing, knowing what's out there and still deciding to face it head on. The Bering Sea is cruel. It's unpredictable. It doesn't care if you're a rookie, a veteran, or if your family's been doing this for generations. It's indifferent, a relentless force that'll take much more than it ever gives. The people who head out there know it could be their last trip, yet they go anyway. For the money, the thrill, or maybe because they just can't imagine doing anything else. Deadliest Catch isn't just some reality TV show. It's a glimpse into a life where every single win is hard-earned and every loss hits deep. It's not about the crab, not really. It's about the people, their stories, and the sea that seems to have a mind of its own. The money can be good, really good. Those captains on Deadliest Catch pull in some serious cash. Just from the fishing, a captain might earn between $150,000 and $200,000 a season. But here's the thing, that's not where the real money is. The TV show itself, that's where it's at. Captains can make between $25,000 and $50,000 per episode. It's this dual income that's let captains like Sig Hansen and Wild Bill Wachowski build up their fortunes. Hansen's estimated net worth? About $4 million. It's a good deal, but it's not something that just anyone can walk into. The deckhands, they're not making captain money, but it's still decent. A seasoned deckhand can pull in anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000 for a few months of grueling, freezing, dangerous work. Some of them get a cut of the catch, which means the harder they work, the more they earn. It's a decent setup if you don't mind the constant risk of death. Every day out there is a gamble, and the paycheck is never guaranteed. The money might be good, but it's never enough to completely outweigh the dangers. Lately, though, it's getting even tougher. Declining crab populations are making things a lot harder. Climate change, overfishing, the usual suspects are causing quotas to drop, which means crews are working harder, traveling farther, and catching less. All this effort for a smaller payday. The captains and their crews are feeling the pressure, and there's no easy fix in sight.
3 crab, that's it. That was it in the whole pot? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Even finding the crabs has become a challenge, with climate change shifting their migration patterns and making traditional methods unreliable. It's enough to make anyone rethink their options, and that's exactly what Jake Anderson did. He decided to invest in his own boat, the FV Saga. It's a big risk, but for him it's about taking control of his future. The younger captains are trying to carve out their piece of the pie, but it's not easy with quotas shrinking and costs rising. Ownership means more money, sure, but it also means more stress, more responsibility, and let's be honest, a bigger target on your back when things go wrong. And yet, they all keep coming back. Season after season, these captains and their crews return to face the sea. Why? Maybe because it's what they know. Maybe because there's something addicting about the danger, the thrill of the chase, or the satisfaction of a hard-earned catch. Whatever it is, it's clear that they're not ready to call it quits just yet. Fans of Deadliest Catch keep watching, drawn in by the intensity, the personal stories, and the sheer unpredictability of it all. But as the seasons wear on, one can't help but wonder how long it can go on like this. How long before the sea finally wins? How long before the risks outweigh the rewards for good? The captains have managed to diversify, branching out into product lines and appearances, but that's not an option for everyone, especially not for those just starting out. The show's future, like the future of the industry itself, is uncertain, and that's exactly what makes it so hard to look away. The sea has a way of calling people back even after all the losses, all the heartbreak. The pull of the ocean is something deep, almost primal. It's not just about the money or the fame that comes from being on a hit TV show. It's about the challenge, the sense of purpose, the connection to something that's both beautiful and terrifying. For many of these captains, it's a family legacy, a tradition passed down through generations. There's pride in it, a sense of belonging that's hard to find anywhere else. Take Mandy Hansen, for example. She's stepping into a world that has taken so much from her family, yet she's doing it willingly.
Well, I gotta hand it to Mandy. I mean, she kept her calm. I didn't, but that's not my way, so I'm very proud of her.
She's seen the toll it's taken on her father, the health scares, the sleepless nights, the constant pressure. But she's also seen the victories, the moments when everything comes together and the reward is worth all the risk. She knows what's at stake, and she's still choosing this life. It's not about following in her father's footsteps because she has to. It's because she wants to. There's a determination there, a drive that can't be taught. And it's not just the Hansens. Every captain, every crew member has their own reasons for being out there. For some, it's about providing for their families. For others, it's the thrill of the chase, the adrenaline rush that comes from battling the elements and coming out on top. It's about proving something to themselves, to their families, to the world. The sea tests them in ways that nothing else can. It pushes them to their limits, physically and mentally. And when they come out on the other side, there's a sense of accomplishment that's hard to match. But it's not without its costs. The toll it takes on their bodies, their minds, their relationships, it's significant. The health scares that Sig Hansen has faced are a stark reminder of that. The man has had multiple close calls, and yet he keeps coming back. It's not because he's reckless or doesn't care about his health. It's because for him, the sea is a part of who he is. It's in his blood, and walking away from it would be like walking away from a part of himself. The same goes for Jake Anderson. He's faced his own share of struggles, both on and off the water. The decision to buy his own boat was a big one, and it came with a lot of risks. But for Jake, it was about taking control of his destiny. He's worked his way up from being a deckhand, learning from some of the best in the business, and now he's carving out his own path. It's not easy, and there are no guarantees, but that's the nature of the game. The sea doesn't offer any promises, and neither does the fishing industry. And then there's the impact of climate change. It's not something that can be ignored. The declining crab populations, the shifting migration patterns, it's all making an already tough job even tougher. The captains are having to adapt, to find new ways to stay profitable in an industry that's becoming more uncertain with each passing year. It's a constant struggle, and there's no easy answer. But if there's one thing that's clear, it's that these captains and their crews aren't going down without a fight. The future of Deadliest Catch is as unpredictable as the sea itself. The show has been a staple for years, drawing in viewers with its raw, unfiltered look at one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. But as the challenges mount, declining crab stocks, rising costs, increased regulations, one has to wonder how long it can continue. The captains are doing what they can to adapt, to find new ways to make it work, but the reality is that the industry is changing, and with that change comes uncertainty. Is the fight against nature and dwindling resources still worth the risk? Leave a comment and subscribe to share your thoughts and keep the conversation going.